Hey guys, this next Success After Graduation interview is one of my favorites just because I got to talk to two people at the same time. I got to talk to a friend of mine, Stephanie, and her daughter, Hannah, who is just graduating high school, and she is moving forward as she makes decisions to go to college and prepare for that coming up in August. So it's kind of great to hear a perspective from a parent of a daughter going through school, as well as obviously the student just graduating high school and getting ready to go into college. So if you listen in on this, you can hear both their perspectives and what it is like to graduate high school and get quickly prepared to enter into the awesome world of going to college. Okay, guys, awesome. So today I have with me Stephanie and her daughter Hannah, which is great. She just graduated high school. She'll be getting ready for college, and we're going to dive deep today, figuring out exactly what it's like being a graduate of high school and trying to figure out exactly what's going to be going on with college, as well as being a mother of a high school graduate and helping guide her through the different steps it takes to get into college. So welcome, guys, Stephanie and Hannah. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good. Awesome. I appreciate you guys jumping on the call with me today. Stephanie, we obviously know each other through the QLM, which, you have a real estate business going on there, and we've made great connections there. And you've talked highly of your daughter, Hannah, getting ready to go to college. So this is a great setup as far as communication and just getting understanding of what, you guys are going through. So Hannah, you just graduated high school. How was that whole thing as you got towards the end of your senior year? Have you been really busy lately?
Yeah. Towards the end, like fourth quarter of senior year, I was really, really done with it. It's kind of
Yeah.
hard to have motivation before graduation, but
Yeah.
it's time to be done, definitely.
Senioritis kicks in very hard at the end of your senior year. And unfortunately, as you're getting ready to walk out, I feel like that's when all of the activities stack up as far as scholarship dinners and all these different events you got to go to, being prepared for graduation ceremony. And it's right when you're getting ready to run out the door, that's when all of the activities come in. But obviously you balance that fine. We're able to walk across the stage, which is fantastic. And Stephanie, I know Hannah is now your second child going, that just graduated. How is this now that your second child has just graduated?
Yeah, it's good. Both my kids they're kind of completely different. My son, I don't want to say struggled through high school, but school wasn't his thing, so to speak. And he somewhat reluctantly went to college just because that's kind of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And so he is in his junior year, and he's kind of sticking it out. He still lives at home, and he works full time. So he's kind of doing that route. And Hannah, was very studious, 4.0, AP classes. She has I guess the good way to say it is they have different goals and kind of aspirations. And so it's been very different, their experiences.
Yeah, very good. So I didn't realize 4.0, that's amazing. That was something I kind of worked for, but towards the end, my senioritis hit in and it was a little bit more difficult. So AP classes, so that's really good. I mean, you're obviously starting off in a straight and narrow when it comes to going into college. Did you feel like a lot more pressure trying to hold on to that 4.0 towards the last couple of quarters?
Yeah, I think it was actually easier to maintain just because at my school, there weren't very many options for AP classes as an underclassman, and honors classes weren't weighted. So it was easier to boost my GPA as a junior and senior because I just had more options to do so.
Nice.
But yeah, the motivation kind of.
Motivation.
A little bit.
Yeah. But you don't want to let go. Like you're that close. You don't want to let go. And so what would you say your favorite part of your senior year was?
I'd say after junior year where there's the whole stress, taking the SAT, that was really stressful for me. And just the classes junior year were really hard. So going into senior year, even though I was still taking hard classes, once I got into college, especially towards the end of first semester, it was more just fun.
A lot more breathing room once you get that acceptance letter.
Yeah, definitely.
So as far as colleges go, so you said you got accepted. Which college is that you got accepted into?
I applied to 6, but I'm going to University of Missouri.
University of Missouri. Okay, so what attracted you to that compared to the other ones that you applied to?
Initially, when I was looking for colleges, or I guess applying to them, I was planning on majoring in journalism. So Missouri has a really good journalism school, and I think that's kind of a major where you maybe want to go somewhere that has a program that's specifically strong in that area. Mm-hmm. So that's mostly what attracted me there, but I'm not doing journalism anymore. It's still a good school for what I want to do, but yeah. that's
Yeah.
the
So,
draw.
She
so
started
there's
to-
proof that things change as you go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I changed my major halfway through. So I was able to get an associate's in engineering. Then I switched over to computer programming. I realized that engineering, like I enjoyed some of the aspects of it, but not enough to do it as a career. And luckily I was able to get the associates and kind of keep going. But there are plenty of students out there that make it through 2 years, don't get that degree, and basically start over when they switch their degree. So it's good that you're starting to figure that out now. So so you're switching away from journalism. What are you switching towards now?
I'm switching towards clinical and diagnostic sciences. So
Wow, that's a whole other corner of the universe when it comes to things, but I like it.
yeah. Yeah, I considered engineering also, but the classes for clinical sciences I liked a lot better, and just the career path. I don't know if being an engineer is really what I would want, but
Yeah, and I'm not fully familiar with that. Man, I hear clinical and I hear science. What type of career path can you have with that degree?
it's like an oddly, like they have different focuses at Missouri at least. So a lot of it is like radiology. That's the focus that I want to do. So like MRI programming, stuff like that.
Okay, very cool.
I think there's other ones too. I honestly don't remember. Like lab research, I think is one.
And
So-
you'll experiment with those as you start, your different classes. Now, Stephanie, when Hannah came to you and said, "Hey, I'm changed my mind as far as my major," did you freak out, or did you support that, or you just kept going with it?
Yeah, I mean, Hannah's rare in that she's highly skilled on both kind of the right brain, left brain. She's a wonderful writer. She was an editor in her school newspaper, but she also is really strong in the math and science. So she could really go whichever way she wants. And mostly, I just want both my kids to do something they love, and you're going to work your whole life. And so I really feel like you should just experiment with stuff and see what you like. So my son has changed majors. I think he's on like the third one. Yeah, it's a bummer. And like you said, that sometimes you backtrack and you end up spending more money, basically money and time. But I think, trying stuff and seeing what you like is really good.
Yeah, definitely. So parents always kind of want to start wondering, when do you start talking about college? When did you guys start talking about college, like in a serious manner, as far as when did you start looking at colleges, I guess? And when did you realize that, like, I really need to figure out my career as I start doing decision making?
I'd say probably junior year is when, at least that's when I remember we started visiting schools, like going out of state to visit schools, which I would say is when it seemed to get serious for me, like once you're actually going there and trying to picture yourself there.
Well, what I tried to do was have us visit big schools. Like we visited University of Texas in Austin, which is an urban school that's like all through downtown Austin, 50,000 people. And we sat in a class and we really tried that. And then we went to Baylor, which is in like a little town, Waco, Texas, private school. And so we kind of went and tried some different things to look at to get a feel for what the different options are.
You don't have to name schools, Hannah, but did you find anything that you did not want? Like as you're visiting these schools, you kind of realize that this type of lifestyle is not for me?
Yeah, I'm between the two Texas ones. I won't say names, but
Yeah.
I hated one of them and then really liked the other.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, you can definitely, once you visit, I think you can really feel like whether or not it's a place you want to spend 4 years or if it's not. And one of them really I would not have wanted to be.
Good. Yeah.
So. Well, because there's, a huge difference between urban, like an urban school may feel less connected than, there's kind of those kinds of things that I think you have to take into consideration your gut feel when you kind of go there.
Yeah, and I think that it's obviously based on the individual, right? I mean, at one point I was going to go to Ohio State, which was a big college, and then I realized like the commuter school as far as cost was great, and a lot of my friends were going there, so that was really cool. But yeah, you got to be on campus, figuring that out, talking to the right people, and seeing exactly what the right thing for you is, checking out the programs, like you said, and the journalism was what originally attracted you there, which is good. Now, are any of your friends going to this college too, or are you going to be basically all on your own when you go out there?
I know two people from my school that are going, but I'm not like super good friends with either of them.
Right.
So I'm pretty much going to be on my own.
So that, yeah, big
One of the
spots.
good things was these schools have like ambassadors at the high schools.
Mm.
So Missouri has this ambassador that visits, it's assigned to like Colorado, and she really was really good at connecting with us. Hannah talked to her here. When we went to Missouri, she was there and met with us. And so I thought that was kind of helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I mean, colleges are working harder to attract, more students and especially outside and add diversity there, but not all of them are. So that's good that they're reaching out and you're starting to build those relationships because there's a lot going on. I mean, you're stepping out of the house, you're moving out on your own. It sounds like you're not going to really have too many friends there. You'll make plenty of them, I'm sure, but having those connections ahead of time so you can kind of figure everything out is really helpful. Have you done your schedule yet for your fall?
No, I'm doing it next week actually.
Doing it next week. Yeah. That's another fun stepping stone, of course.
Yeah.
And that's when it's real.
Yeah,
Obviously,
we're headed there Monday for orientation, and they sleep in the dorms and stuff. So
yeah.
that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of fun. And figuring out your schedule, as far as spacing it out. You get to pick your entire week really, and figuring out exactly when you're getting all that time in. And you'll learn a lot in the first semester, and some classes might not be for you, whether it be the professor or whatever. But it's a lot of fun. I remember my first year. I was, I think, 5 days a week. And then after that, I was able to just do like 3 or 4 days a week, and just finding out that you can not have class on Fridays was one of the best things ever for me. And I'm hoping that when you start to look at your schedule, you can make that option too. That's good.
Another cool thing that they have now, which I'm sure you know about, are these roommate matching apps.
Yeah.
So Hannah did that, and she matched like 100%. I mean, really high with someone. So we've actually met them and their mom twice now. And so she's somewhat familiar with her roommate, which is kind of nice going into it also.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you see movies that kind of make fun of the fact that, you basically just coexist in the same area, and that makes for a very long freshman year. So that's really good. Kind of going back into high school and transition into college, what would you think is the most difficult thing that you had to go through? You said junior year was pretty difficult, but what's something in the past you remember is the most difficult, or the thing that you were just waiting to get away from?
Just the SAT, that actually was like so stressful for me because I was trying to, I knew my baseline score, I guess, without any studying would be enough to get me in, but I wanted scholarships. That was like my main concern with that. So I'd keep taking the SAT until I got just a specific score. I was 10 points below it for several tries. But so yeah, once that was over, that was really, really nice, a nice relief.
Yeah. So how many times did you take it total?
Maybe 4.
4. Okay. Yeah. On average, I did the ACT for all my schools. I took it 2 or 3 times. YSU at the time had a 28 ACT score for a full ride, and I got the 27. I took the SAT, tried to get the equivalent. I could not get that 1 point. Now they're down to 26 or 27 for a full ride. So, the requirements have changed, but it went up 3 or 4 points my second try. So there's a lot of students out there. You got to start early so you have enough time and you're not exhausted. You can't take it every month or every 2 months. So making sure you have enough time to do all that, but that's good. Obviously it paid off. Scholarships are coming in. How's that been? Have you been working on a lot of scholarships? It sounds like you're hard work when it comes to all this. So how's that been going as far as scholarships?
The one that I got, a lot of the schools I applied to had automatic scholarships, which were by far the easiest to get because you just get a score, have a certain GPA, and then they give it to you. But I haven't had much luck with outside third-party scholarships. I'm kind of finding that no one gets those.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition out there, and I know I was talking to a student that halfway through their college career, they found all these ones that are available in college. So that's another great way to find them, because I only did it my senior year. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done filling out these applications. I've put my name and like my demographics on so many applications. I'm just tired of it. But I do wish that I went back like in college and found, that extra $1,000 here and there would have went a really long way. But like you said, you're balancing a lot of things right now. And I know the last thing you want to do after graduating high school is look at scholarships, but that's good. I mean, you put in the effort ahead of time so you could get the higher scholarships with the SAT score. So that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking forward to most as you approach college?
It's just something new, like leaving home, I think is good. Just being on my own, having school on my own. I think that'll be good. Actually doing I guess the first 2 years are mostly general classes, but I guess having more say in the stuff that I'm doing, if I'm going to pay for it, I guess I'd rather have a say in what I'm taking. So that part is pretty exciting.
Yeah, that I agree. With me, I was a math person, so I enjoyed taking a couple extra math classes, as least amount of English writing classes as possible. But it is nice that you have that control. And Stephanie, what kind of emotions are you going through now? I mean, this will be your second child going off to college. You'll be an empty house at this point, right?
No, because my son is at a commuter school. So
your son's okay. That's right. You said he's still living at home. So,
but I'm very excited to be solo at the house. So whenever that happens is fine. I'm good. I think it's exciting. I'm ready to be, supportive. I acknowledge the stress. Like there's going to be stress and change, and Hannah's worked hard for scholarships, but there's still a financial burden, which is probably her biggest stress. So, I think working through that, and then all the other things that will come as she, is meeting new people and finding her way. My job's just to be supportive and be here kind of thing.
Yeah, I love that. And I like the fact that you guys are obviously talking about finances, because sometimes that just kind of gets swept under the rug and it's like, take out as many loans as possible to go to school and then like worry about it in the future. But the fact that you're having those conversations and worried about it now is great, because it unfortunately it's real. I mean, as soon as you sign those papers, it's a very real thing, and trying to figure out a way to minimize that as much as possible is good. And that's where the hard work pays off. Are you planning to work at all during college?
Yeah, I think on FAFSA, I said that I was willing to do
work study. Yeah.
And then I'll probably try to get like a normal part-time job second semester once I get used to everything.
Settles, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I worked, but it helped that I was out of commuter school, so I already had like the position set up. But for you, yeah, you got to figure out where all the grocery stores are. You got to find out a lot of stuff before you just jump in and show up the first day. But to me, that's a great thing too, because as you graduate college in 4 years, then you have to understand how to balance all of that. And I think students that don't work during college are at a disadvantage just because they are only in classes for, the 15 or 20 hours a week. And that's like their only responsibilities. And it also leaves you open to get into a little bit more trouble and get distracted, which I don't see that in you hearing all the things you've been working on hard, but I think it builds a very good thing. Plus you have that experience under your belt when you go to apply at jobs as you graduate. Yeah. Are you looking, after you graduate, have you looked ahead as far as like where you're looking to work? I mean, it sounds like your degree kind of opens up a handful of doors compared to like just one specific job industry. So how's that looking for you?
I will probably work somewhere in like the health field, just because I say that's probably the most applicable area for it.
Yeah.
I'll probably stay in Missouri somewhere, just because the cost of living is a lot cheaper than it is in Colorado, or just something like that maybe. But yeah, I haven't really entirely thought through a plan.
I mean, you're just excited to get into the doors starting at the end of the summer. Now, how far of a drive is it from where you guys are to the school?
Like 10 hours maybe.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's no picnic drive. And it's actually not even a picnic to fly there. We fly, you can land either in Kansas City or St. Louis, and it's 2.5 hour drive either way.
Oh, geez. Yeah. So really in the end, you're not saving a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. And so, I mean, typically, like one of my questions is always asking, like, what are goals for the next few years? Which I know obviously it's getting through college, but do you, outside of taking classes and doing well in college, do you have anything set up to like where you see yourself in the next couple of years?
Outside of college, I mean, I would hope to get like an internship at some point.
Mhm.
Probably, I think in the program that I'm wanting to do, I would be still in Missouri, like doing school during the summer between like sophomore and junior year. So at some point, if I could just find like internships, I think that would be something I'm interested in doing. I guess on a social level, I'm planning on rushing for sorority. So that's like, I guess, a social outlet. Hopefully I'll like make friends, which
Yeah.
is important since I'm going in with pretty much nobody. But yeah, I guess those are the main things.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I debated on a fraternity. I decided not to do it just because I had so much going on outside of school.
Yeah.
But I think that's always a great thing. My dad, he was in a fraternity. He tells me it was very much like the Animal House movie, and he's like me, kind of a little bit more quiet and like reserved. And I mean, he told me stories of when they would break end tables for firewood inside of their frat house. So, but no, I think that'll be a lot of fun for like, between the sorority and everything else you have going on. So that's really good. So what are you doing with the rest of your summer? Is it fully focused on going to college? Or are you guys going on any vacations to kind of celebrate and get some fun in before college starts?
I'm working to, save up for when I
Mhm.
won't have any money.
Yeah.
And yeah, not really many trips. Going to orientation is kind of a trip on its own just because of
Yeah.
the travel. But
Yeah, that's true. 10-hour drive, or like you said, a long flight. That's your breakaway, or that's your trip away from home.
Yeah, because
yeah,
then she moves in August, early August, so there's not a
Yeah.
time there.
I mean, yeah, that's what, 7-8 weeks away or so. I mean, it'll go quick. Yeah, that's cool. Stephanie, what has been your favorite part of this process? Like you said, this is your second one going through. You said they're two different styles. So have you felt a big change between the two of them, or like have you learned a lot from when your son went through to how you could help Hannah when she went to school?
I think it's completely different. They're both so different individually, and then the paths they took are so different. But I definitely, there are things I learned, just like orientation and those kinds of things are somewhat similar. But yet it's still very different.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And like I said, different schools. I mean, him staying at home is very helpful compared to having to figure out exactly. You guys are going to have to start collecting all of the things that she'll be taking with her when it goes to move in. I remember when I went to college, a friend of mine at the time, she was moving away, and they just had, I think it was way overpacking, but they had containers of just nothing but like body wash and shampoo. And like she was stocked for like the entire year, I swear. And I think they went a little overboard, but yeah.
I'm very much like, we'll get what we need there kind of thing. So who knows, that might, we'll see how my nonchalant attitude works out.
You'll start seeing all the sales and all the dorm decorations and all the different things you can get, and just fall in love with all of it. That's good. Well, so Hannah, like I kind of want to wrap this up. So kind of talking to other high school juniors now becoming seniors, what would you say to the class of, it'll be 2020 as they go into the senior year? Like what should they be thinking about, or what fears should they be getting over? What do you wish somebody told you when you went into your senior year?
I would say, like in the applying to colleges thing, definitely apply to any place you have interest in. And don't just apply to places because someone told you to. Like I'd say at least 2 or 3 of the places I applied to were just because some random family member went there and said that they might give good scholarships or they might have a good program. And that was kind of a waste. And then at the end of it, I didn't have that many options. I'm happy with like where I'm going, but I wish that before I knew to like apply and just broaden my options. Especially with like financial aid. I think I probably could have applied somewhere and gotten like a lot more money, which would have been like a deciding factor for me. So I wish I knew that. As far as fears go, I guess, I don't know what I was really too scared of. I think starting senior year and ending senior year, you're just in a different place mentally by the end of senior year. Even if you're really scared at the beginning, you'll probably be ready to leave. So
yeah,
just trust the fact that what everyone says about being ready to be done is true, because you'll get there too. You'll be ready to, like, once the end is in sight, you're ready to dip. So I'd say just trust that.
I think the actual decision time was kind of stressful, don't you? At least I hear that I was putting on a lot of stress. So I don't really care. Like, I want my kids to do what they want, but I really wanted to know, like, I wanted to, like, decision, because, you know, there's a lot to do. And I think there's a lot of pressure for these kids around deciding, which is stressful.
Yeah. And it's one of those things too. We've learned, Stephanie, from John Berghoff, that how you come across might not be your intent. So you had obviously great intentions, but it was adding the stress. And I think that's very common with parents, and like they're trying their best, but as kids, we're just like, leave me alone. I got this figured out, or I don't need the help. And Stephanie, what would you recommend to other parents when they have students that are, juniors becoming seniors, I guess this year, parents that have students that are the class of 2020, what would you recommend to them when their students are going through all this?
Well, I think it's hard. I mean, I don't consider myself overly into my kids, like obsessed with their life and obsessed with what they're doing, but you obviously want the best for your kids. So like when Hannah was talking about the SAT, I know that she wanted to get a certain score for her own, for her own self. And so you do kind of swoop in with, like, do you want tutoring? Just laying on all of these options, which can also add stress. So I think having conversations and being open and maybe asking more questions than, the tendency to want to help them make decisions might be helpful.
Yeah, I like that. And I think, like you said, when you want to help, there's just, you add that extra pressure, and like you're trying to get involved and you're getting excited. I know my mom would send me different college reviews and all of that. And essentially it is, the student's decision. And it's great to get suggestions, because sometimes if you're asking for the help, you don't know what's going on. But in the very end of the day, like, we're typically holding the financial responsibility, and we have to be there for the next 4 years, and we want to enjoy every minute of it so we can get the most benefit out of it. So I think that's a really good message to parents. With that, I will wrap this up. I thank you guys again. And those of you guys watching at home, I hope you guys got some value out of this. This was my first double interview, which I really enjoyed. So we got a perspective from both high school student and a parent. I guess you're not a high school student anymore, but a graduating high school senior. And I'm still looking for people to join on here. So if you're a parent with a graduate, or you just graduated high school, or you just graduated college, I would love to hear your experience and see exactly what you're going through, because I know that life is very scary, and every big milestone you go through is just another big challenge you have to get across. So guys, reach out, successaftergraduation.com, and we will talk to you guys soon. Thanks.